Another year flies by, and here we are at the 2019 Wadapalooza. Different field, different games, and we'll get into that a little bit. But right now, I'm joined by my co-host, Aaron Hines, founder, creator, and the mind behind FITAID, and a very special guest that we have on all the time because we can't get enough of her, Christmas Abbott. Christmas, tell us about your new little bundle of joy.
I had a baby.
I know.
I had a
How's
little
that going?
baby. It's going better.
Okay. How has your life changed from being, you know, the celebrity CrossFit gym owner to now your mom?
I mean, I didn't get rid of those other things.
Okay.
I
But
kept
they kind of take
everything
a back
else.
seat.
Yeah, it does. Your foundation, which every year I pick a word to kind of focus my year around, and this year is foundation. So my foundation shift dramatically. It's like one day you're just kind of waddling. I gained so much weight, waddling around pregnant, and the next day you're expected to take care of a human and keep them alive. And then,
Every day.
maybe be a positive influence to that person. So where before it was like hundreds of thousands or millions of people, now it's my focus.
You got one
It's
guy.
still there, but like my spotlight is that one guy, my little man.
So give us a little insight to it. Like, you know, what's it like? I mean, you probably always wanted to get up pretty early in the morning, get a workout in, right? Now you're getting up, changing a diaper to...
You know, he wakes me up. I mean, it's evolving so quickly. It's not like, you know, as adults, we think about implementing a habit and then we have to make that effort every day. He's just like, by the way, today, Mom, this is what we're going to do, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And you're like, okay, cool. 3 days go by, and you're like, I got this. And then he's like, change. We're going to change it up. It's a completely different scenario. And so it's that constantly varied of life. It really is. And I have to say that out of all the things that I've ever done between, you know, the wickets, you know, writing a book, games, weightlifting, NASCAR, this is by far the hardest thing that I have ever done. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it takes this, whatever range of emotions you have for whatever passion you have, just, it goes on steroids and then out of control when, not just hormones, right? But the emotion intensifies greatly.
You know, you have certain intentions of, okay, this is what I'm going to be like as a mom. What's been the most surprising thing that you weren't quite expecting?
I don't know. So I was trying to be realistic with myself and not so much of a control freak. And I didn't want to say I'm going to do X, Y, Z and then set myself up for disappointment or feel like a failure. So it was really important for me to go a little bit more with the flow of accepting my feelings as they come. I know that sounds strange. So what's been surprising to me is the level of patience that you just suddenly have. You're like, where the fuck did that come from? When you have a crying baby all night long. He was reflux, so he cried for the first 9 weeks, nonstop. And so I was like, wow, anybody else I would have like ripped their head off or like gotten upset or, you know, a whole bunch of other things. Just, I would have had a reaction. And now I'm like, no, I just want to find a way to fix him and make him feel better. And that's like the biggest goal is how do I make him feel better? Have
you noticed your community, which, I mean, you touch a range. It's always been, you know, very traditional when we do like meet and greets here. You've got a range from, you know, the young guy who's in awe of this, you know, hot CrossFit chick to, you know, older people, moms, grandpas, generations coming. Are you finding like now your community, you're really attracting other mothers that may have always been there, but now you can really relate to them?
I mean, they've definitely always been there. I've always grabbed the babies in the bellies. And this is my first appearance since I had Loyal. But there's definitely a lot of moms and dads reaching out, specifically about the transparency of the journey, because there's especially in social media, and you relate to this, especially like people see all the beautiful pictures, right? The filters, the highlight reel,
Kenny's always
the good
beautiful,
stuff.
though.
Well, he is Mr. Beautiful.
I mean, there's a lot I can't relate.
He wakes up with his hair perfect.
I know. And so I've just kind of wanted to open the curtains on pregnancy, and like I'm not saying, hey, this is a terrible experience. It's amazing, but there are some deep, dark corners in birthing and being a mother, and specifically doing it solo.
And sleep deprivation. And
I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I will walk into a wall and be like, oh, I didn't see it.
Right.
Like, I really don't know how I function. But 4 hours, I get 4 hours, I'm solid. Solid.
So we've always talked about, kind of bouncing back from a pregnancy, and how there are so many moms out there who are trying to recover from that, or trying to get their bodies back from a pregnancy. Now going through it, what's some of your advice? I mean, has your advice changed at all? Or?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was like before, so I'd kind of advise mothers on what I would kind of hope to see them do. And for me specifically, I'm not interested in bouncing back. I'm interested in building forward, which means for me is that my body is different. Like, people are like, oh, it goes back. Yeah, eventually. Like, I'm only 3 months postpartum, and it's going to go back in some ways, but other ways, like, I am fundamentally changed.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in having my 25-year-old. I wasn't 25 with a hot body. I was like 32 with a hot body. I'm not interested in having that body again. I'm interested in building as much as I can for my well-being. And so, like, I'm not going to try and perform all these things. I just want to have a healthy body. So bouncing back, I want that term to be changed into building forward.
On the topic of hot bodies, we're here down in Wadapalooza. You've been here before. You've competed before. You competed at the CrossFit Games. What's your take on the whole, where's CrossFit right now compared to when you started?
So, like, the growth
state of CrossFit.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. I mean, when I started, we would have to steal equipment from the gym, and they called us Monkey Fit, Circus Fit, and they made fun of us. And then years later, they were coming through seminars. So I started in 2005.
OG, yeah. It's OG as OG gets.
I got my level 1 in 07. And there was, like, at that point, if you saw somebody in the airport or any sort of function with a CrossFit shirt on, you were just instantly best friends.
Yeah,
you would hunt them down. Now it's like, if you see somebody with a CrossFit shirt, you might get a nod, maybe. And there's still a community base. It's just it's bigger. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. I love seeing it grow. And I'm interested.
With all the new changes, what do you think?
I know. I'm really interested in where the games are going to go in the next few years. But I know that Greg Glassman is really focusing on the health aspect of it, which I love, because that's what it was intended for, is to make the everyday person better.
Well, do you think because there's not this hierarchy, or if they do get rid of the games at some point, do you think there will be that many people still trying to do it?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, because even if you just want to go, and everybody should, the everyday person should go do CrossFit.
100%.
It doesn't have to be in a competitive way. Even if you want to go and compete, then for me, that's kind of where I found a lot of my passions, is through competition, that I didn't know I was a competitor until I was forced into it.
What do your workouts look like today as opposed to, a year, 2 years ago?
Very different.
Yeah, well, you're talking about,
I'm picking my baby up.
Not bouncing back, but, moving forward,
Yeah.
and creating, a better you, the building forward.
Thank you.
So I'm just curious, what modifications or changes or what exercises are you doing different? Like, how are you integrating CrossFit into, this building forward?
I'm still doing class at my gym, CrossFit Invoke, but there's a lot of things that I'm not cherry picking in the sense of I don't want to mentally do it. I want to make sure that it's really smart for my body, specifically postpartum, because a lot of women rush back when their pelvic floor hasn't been properly healed. And not to be graphic, but literally your organs fall out of your vagina. Like, that can happen. The guys are like, oh my God.
Well, there's a lot of ligamentous laxity issues.
So many things.
Yeah.
So for me, I just want to move slow with a consciousness of how my body is feeling and connect my mind and my body together at the same time, instead of mindlessly going through it, because I got to that state where my body knew what to do.
Right.
My body doesn't know what to do anymore. It thinks it does, but I need to remind it again. So it's real intentional and slow and steady and not dynamic. I'm going back to like
static
pull,
position.
press, squat, and that's it.
Now, you've had an affiliate for 9 years now.
9 years.
There are people who've had an affiliate for 6 months and fall apart. What's your advice to people who are, still opening affiliates, who are still holding on to their affiliates? Because we're seeing so many of them closing down.
I know.
What's your advice to them? How do you keep it? How do you keep the longevity? How do you keep the business going?
It's kind of like one of my other philosophies: do good business, which means care about your community, put your money back into the gym. A lot of them just kind of like want to just go there and coach. If you're a coach enthusiast, then hire a business expert
to run the business.
To run it, and have somebody you trust. Get this stuff in order. People don't understand that running an affiliate is a lot of administrative work.
100%.
But also, contracts should be in place, understandings. Having clear communication is huge with your coaches, your partner, and your athletes. And that passion that you put back into the community will be transparent.
There's been a trend, especially in the U.S., of a lot of dropping CrossFit and going to strength and conditioning, or going to still having CrossFit, but having it as a module that's being offered amongst multiple other things, to not get kind of stereotyped, because it's like everybody out there has heard of CrossFit now and everybody has an opinion.
Yeah, we were talking about this last night, how there's still this stigma around CrossFit. Now there's more people who have tried it. There are people who love it and will never stop doing it. And then there's a bunch of people who are still anti the whole idea, and they don't like it. And it's kind of, I feel like in a way it hurts a lot of businesses saying that you're just a CrossFit gym.
Well, I think that it comes down to the business owners and what kind of community they want to cultivate. Just an CrossFit only gym has a different kind of feel.
Yeah.
Even the more bougie ones, right? Because mine's still a little old school with roll-up doors, kind of grungy. But there's a certain type of community atmosphere that you have within a CrossFit community.
Yeah.
And the same thing with like the yoga industry and the running industry. Every facet of fitness has their own feel. And when you kind of have a multifaceted facility, then you're offering a lot of other options, which is awesome, but you lose a little bit of that culture. So it depends on what they want to cultivate.
As a fitness expert, what do you think the next wave is? Because we're starting to see bodybuilding come back a little bit.
I know.
There's a lot of people doing bodybuilding. There's a lot of people going back to the Globo gyms. What's next? What do you think's next on the horizon?
I hope that functional fitness doesn't fade.
Yeah.
Because
it's like rock and roll now. It's like everybody loves that, like the grunginess of rock and roll, or a CrossFit workout. We're all just holding on to it, but I feel like grunge metal and rap is coming up strong.
I know. I mean, you see a lot of these other, and I'm not going to say fad, but these more hybrid types of fitness.
Yeah, these like little boutique.
Yeah.
The F45s and the Orange Theories and the boot camp class. These are all like kind of CrossFit ripoffs.
Yeah.
And they're like, cheaper versions of it.
I think almost all fitnesses are charging around $200. So if you have multiple memberships, you're like $1,000 in for a well-balanced body. So it does actually have some validity to open a facility that has a whole bunch of different ones.
I think that the fitness industry in general needs to come from more of an abundance mindset. Like, be okay, you're going to attract who you're going to attract, and just as importantly, you need to repel who you need to repel. You're not meant to have everybody, right? And so having lots of different options, like if you want to go, even within CrossFit, I think CrossFit should start developing, like we were talking last night with Christian's gym. You walk in, and he has the OCR track. Like, okay, if you're a professional Spartan racer, here's your CrossFit track to prep for that. Here's if you want to go to the games. Here's if you just want to, general health and fitness or weight loss, like have different modules within CrossFit itself, so you're attracting different clients.
Yeah, I think it's like any other business. You need to know who your demographic is. And when somebody's unhappy with your business, it's like, I get Yelp reviews all the time that they're like, it wasn't what I thought it was. It's not comparative to this. It's like, that's okay then. That's okay, because you're not my consumer.
Right.
Yeah. So. I
have seen within the last year or so, this shift towards more of the wellness
Boutiqueness.
of it,
Yeah.
and the mindset and like the spirituality of it. So I find that interesting, that we're becoming more emotionally aware.
All led by Mike Lutzow.
Where is he this year? Is he coming? I haven't seen him.
He's MIA so far.
Yeah. So I find that a little bit more interesting, that there's this consciousness that's kind of being woken up about, like, more than just how hard are your pecs.
Well, Christmas, listen, we know you got to go do some other stuff.
Yeah, I got to go talk about being a mom.
Yeah. Well, thank you for jumping on with us as always.
Always a pleasure, guys.
And where
My
could
favorite
everybody
people.
Where could everybody find you, and what's up next for you?
ChristmasAbbott.com or social media, Christmas Abbott. And I'm working on, still working on CAN. I think I talked about it last year.
Yeah.
And fun thing is that it's HIPAA compliant. So I'm working with the insurance agencies
that's great.
to go straight to the corporations and go from the top down of
Cool.
making sure that the corporations and the people can get better insurance rates.
Listen,
So any business owners out there, reach out to Christmas on our website.
Yeah.
Christmas Abbott, the mom, the gym owner, still one of the sexiest girls in CrossFit, killing it. Guys, keep up with her if you can. Christmas, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
If you haven't subscribed to the FITAID YouTube channel, now's your chance. Do it right now. Check it out. We got a lot of great content up there, from Sarah Sigmund's daughter to stuff at the games to Q&As with some of the best people in the business. Check it out. Grab yourself a FITAID and keep smiling.